And well, I think that shows you how terribly old I am. So from here, let's go ahead and talk about financial aid and scholarships. I'm going to share my screen. My slide deck today is fairly short, with the goal of trying to have plenty of time to answer questions afterwards. I am very interested in your questions. The reason for this is because I don't work exclusively with international students, and because of that, I only know a little bit about what your needs are. And so by you giving me questions, I hope that I'll be able to better understand what it is that you need in the future from us. All right, at this time, you should be able to see my PowerPoint presentation. I went ahead and called this one Financial Matters only because from a financial aid perspective, that is a technical term that we would use for students that are eligible to receive federal and state financial aid. I believe that many of you are not eligible for that, and so I'm going to concentrate more on scholarships and what those scholarships might be able to provide for students that are international or out of state as far as their tuition and fees are concerned. So first things first, let's talk about undergraduate scholarships. Undergraduate scholarships come in two basic fundamental categories. The first one is sort of this admissions type scholarships. These admissions type scholarships are driven through the financial, or excuse me, through the admissions intake process. So your high school, excuse me, your secondary education grades would be what's important there. Your test scores might be important there. This is information that is necessary for just admissions in general. And so that's, why they're called admission scholarships. They're just sort of based on that admissions data. Within that category of admissions scholarships, there's two different types of scholarships that are probably pertinent here, and that is merit scholarships versus just the sort of these other scholarships that have names like the Presidential Honor Scholarship, the Texas State Achievement Scholarship, things of this nature. They're a little bit different, these two categories, and I want to point the two out to you to help you strategize for success with your scholarship pursuits. So the merit scholarships are based solely on your secondary transcripts academics, your class ranking, and then even inside the class ranking, they're being reviewed for what sort of coursework you may have been taking. This is reviewed by a committee. The committee then will, if based on that data, will then offer scholarships ranging from $2,000 to $12,000 annually.
Oh, Dr. Kerr, I think you went muted somehow. Let me see. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Well, how interesting. I swear I touched no buttons.
Only a few seconds.
That's interesting. Okay, I will try to keep a better eye on that. I apologize. All right, so I'm not sure where we left off there. So I was talking about a merit scholarship.
I think you're muted for some reason.
Okay, so my mute seems to be happening independently of me touching anything. You see, I keep my hands where you can see them. I'll go ahead and, again, that's interesting. Once again, though, admissions versus merit type scholarships. The strategy here would be to let the committee review you for a merit scholarship first prior to submitting test scores. And the reason for this is you may be offered a scholarship based on your incredible academic achievements alone that may be better than those combined with your academic achievements and test scores. And so sometimes it's better just to wait. If, however, your merit scholarship is below what you would receive based on those admission scholarships. You would then submit test scores. It may be that test scores are required of you because of other reasons that compel you to do so, but if it's not necessary, I wouldn't worry about it. I would hang back, let the merit scholarship process happen first. It doesn't take very long. That merit review is only a couple of weeks. So from the time that we have information, you're admitted to Texas State University, a review process is going to happen very shortly thereafter. So those are sort of those scholarships that are based solely on intake information. There's a different type of scholarship for those that are planning ahead and you are looking to do competitive scholarships for you're coming in as a freshman in fall of 2025. There is competitive scholarships available. Those would be applied in a different fashion. Those require an application through the Bobcat Online Scholarship System, or BOSS. You would do that prior to December the 1st. That application opens in August, usually August 1st. So that would be for those of you that are not yet concluding your secondary education, you have a little bit of time. For those of you that are coming in the fall 2024 semester and have already submitted your Bobcat Online Scholarship System application and other documents if necessary, you will just need to be a little bit patient if you haven't heard anything. Some of those competitive scholarships are awarded very, very quickly, and others sometimes aren't awarded until much later. And it kind of makes sense. Committees must meet and review these applications. They must review any additional information that the scholarship requires. And sometimes it just requires more time. Some of the arts, music and theater and things like that might require auditions. And so we were just waiting for all the auditions to finish up before those scholarships can be offered. So those sometimes need a little bit of patience on that. And then finally, there are transfer scholarships available for students that already have college credit and are transferring to Texas State University. Please visit the website for all of this information. I'm only giving you the very broad brushstrokes here. We're not discussing the breakdowns of various test scores versus high school, secondary class rankings. We're not talking about any of those details because I want you to go to the website. The website remains accurate and precise. And so any changes to policy regarding scholarships will happen there very, very quickly after those policies are created. And so just that's where you need to go to see the information and to review it. I didn't want to put it up here on a screen as we're moving through very quickly. I worry that that may generate more questions than help answer those questions. So those are just some of our basics on those undergraduate scholarships. While talking about undergraduate programs, I feel that we would be a little bit remiss not to go ahead and discuss some other types of options that are out there for students. If you are from Mexico and are coming in with a student visa from Mexico, the state of Texas offers something called we call it the tuition assistance for Mexican students here at Texas State University. It goes by different names in other schools. This particular one is interesting. I've just not this past week, but the week before, I was in a few meetings regarding this particular application process. We're looking to streamline it, just so you know. But this one here, there is a application process that helps the financial aid office determine financial need. And so we have this fairly elaborate process right now in place to have that happen. It does offer what they call a tuition waiver, though. So this waives those international and out-of-state fees. And so it's worth quite a bit. And so that's very, very handy. Again, I would recommend visiting the website for more information if that's something that's applicable to you. We also offer something called the Good Neighbor Scholarship, again through the state of Texas. This one here is for students that reside in a country other than Cuba or other than the United States and in the Western Hemisphere. And so these scholarships go to students from South America as a general rule and Canada. These offer an exemption for tuition, but not fees. So students, this particular scholarship is a little bit different in that tuition is waived, but fees are not. Just so you know, there's sort of this idea of tuition and fees get combined into the system. And so when you are looking at your cost of education, it's going to be tuition and fees coming together. That actually for the Good Neighbor Scholarship gets peeled apart. That one is through the Bobcat Online Scholarship System. We as a university recommend who will receive that scholarship. We then promote that to the state of Texas's review board. They then tell us who is receiving that scholarship and who isn't. And so that's more or less how that one works. And we'll talk about more on waivers here in a little bit towards the end of the program, by the way. If you are coming in as a graduate student, the graduate scholarships are through the graduate college. Exclusively, there may be a few, one or two, that are still housed inside of departments or inside of the college. But we've migrated the entire university to the Bobcat Online Scholarship System. So aside from a few hanger-ons, it is pretty much where you would go. The graduate college has an excellent site for funding. I would really recommend using their information as a graduate student because they can point you in the direction of things like tuition waivers, or excuse me, things like graduate assistantships, types of scholarships, fellowships, and things like that that are particularly productive for graduate students. And if you have questions about graduate scholarships, you would want to reach out to the graduates, to the graduate college. They are the real experts in that particular program. And something that is often overlooked by students in general, not just international, are external scholarship opportunities. These are scholarships that are not through the university. Very often students, when they think of scholarships, they think of scholarships at the university level. I received a scholarship from the university is important. However, a lot, and I mean billions of dollars, of external scholarships exist in the world. At Texas State University, we have something called iGrad through Bobcat Gold. Bobcat Gold is our financial education platform at Texas State University. And inside of iGrad, there is a scholarship, under the topics, there's a scholarship database. This scholarship database is quite good. It is vetted, it is safe to use, and you would be surprised on how many are available for international students. Write down that I made this the screen capture yesterday, and the first page there we have an immigrant student scholarship opportunity. So I thought that was interesting that just right out of the gates we're already sort of leaning into the idea of international type scholarships. So at any rate, I think it's worth looking into. I think it is worth pursuing. I think that you as a student should should pursue scholarships aggressively, and external scholarship opportunities are a way to do that. So maybe if you've missed deadlines or things like that with a university, you still have access to this, and you can continue to compete for scholarships sort of in this sphere. So don't neglect that opportunity for you. And again, this is offered through Texas State University. It is free to use. You would use your Texas State sign-on credentials to get into the program. And once you're there, I would apply basically to everything. So I've mentioned a few times already in this conversation about tuition waivers through the scholarships. And so the way that works is if a student receives $1,000 or more in merit, admissions-based, competitive scholarships, the rule is competitive scholarship. If you receive $1,000 or more, you also receive a waiver for those international and out-of-state fees, which is huge. That is worth a little more than $6,000 annually. I mean, or excuse me, I take it back, a little more than $12,000 annually, $6,000 a semester. It's a pretty big chunk. It's a lot of money. And so with that, even if you receive a modest scholarship from the university, that translates to thousands and thousands of dollars in fee reductions. And so any scholarship you might receive from Texas State University is quite valuable. So even if you're getting something small, it still translates to quite a bit of money. And just so you know, if we are offering a scholarship like this, let's say a merit scholarship, our office will produce for international students a letter that breaks that down, how much the scholarship is worth, how much the waiver is worth, so that at the bottom of at the end of the day, you know exactly the value of that scholarship. This also is useful for things like your I-20 forms and things like this. These are emailed to you. So if you are wondering where this letter is, I would recommend checking your junk email folder. It's probably where it's found. And if you don't see it there and you are expecting to see it, reach out to the Texas State One Stop. They'll forward it along to me and we'll get to the bottom of why you don't have one. And if we need to get you one, we'll get you one. That's not a problem. But we're always happy to try to help you with your, in paperwork as you need to, as you come to Texas State University. Those waivers also may not appear on your bill straight away. You won't even get a bill until I think August 1st, I think. And so waivers aren't going to kind of reflect until you start to see billing start to happen, which is why that letter we send to you is important so that you know what's going on. And again, most up-to-date information regarding any of this information can be found at that One Stop. Just so you know, One Stops at a university is designed to consolidate multiple offices into a single point. And so admissions, financial aid, scholarships, student business services, our bursar office, and the registration office, all are housed into this one-stop organization so that you can make a single point of communication for all of those offices and you don't have to get bounced around often. So that's why you'll see like financial aid and scholarships and waivers and billing and things like that, all directing you to the one stop. And then finally, just something to help kind of make things make a little bit more sense, I hope, is at the university, you are able to get on installment plans for the semester. And what that means is, let's say that you are waiting for an international student loan to come through or to get wired or something, and it hasn't quite happened yet. If you are waiting for other types of funds to free up and it has not yet made it to the university, you're welcome to get onto a payment plan for that. Requires 25%. And you just need to enroll. So basically you do a 25% down, you enroll into a payment plan. Or if you have enough financial aid, which includes your waivers, if you have enough financial, and I mean by financial aid, your scholarships, if you have your scholarships and your waivers established and they're ready to go, those can also be used to establish that payment plan. Those will happen automatically if you take no action, but I encourage you to go ahead just to get things done and enroll into that payment plan. After you've put your 25% down or used your authorized aid, then your payments then are split up over the next few months for the semester, and you just kind of pay off as you go. And again, the idea here is that for some students, we're just waiting for funds to come. And if we're just waiting for that to happen, not a problem. We have a solution for that through these payment plans. And it occurs to me, I did not create a slide that says thank you very much in questions, but that does conclude the slideshow deck. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen, I think, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Sorry about that microphone. That was very strange.
Thank you so much for that informative session. That was really wonderful. And I have told everyone that the webinar is recorded. And so I see a lot of you are putting your emails in the chat, so that's great. So that way we can send you the webinar straight to your email. So if you have time to do that, go ahead and insert your email in the chat. But yes, does anyone have any questions for Dr. Kerr? I see someone did comment. You did miss the part about the $1,000 scholarship. How could I apply for that?
Oh, so that's any scholar. So as far as the $1,000, that's just the minimum dollar amount to receive that waiver. So if you receive a scholarship through the competitive scholarship process, that's through the Bobcat Online Scholarship System, or you're receiving another scholarship through the university, either that is through your department or through your college or through the admissions information that we mentioned earlier. As long as you receive $1,000, that's all it takes, gets you to have that out of state, that's international fees waived, and they are no longer applicable to you. So it isn't so much that you apply for that scholarship in particular, it's any scholarship at Texas State University that's considered competitive in nature, which they all are. And then from there, we're able to offer you those waivers.
I see another chat has come through and it says, Mitchell has received an email that says, you have been selected as a Texas State Grad Merrill Fellowship for fall. He said, but how can I accept it as the Bobcat portal is not showing the same?
Oh, well, one, congratulations on your scholarship. I'm super happy for you. It's always lovely. And you're getting that through the graduate college. So the graduate college is going to be through the Bobcat Online Scholarship System. You should be able to go into the Bobcat Online Scholarship System to accept that aid. So it isn't going to be where you go to, I don't think you're going to go through the student portal. You're instead going to go through the Bobcat Online Scholarship System to accept that. I could be mistaken because those sometimes toggle back and forth and there are exceptions, but that should be how that works. If you are unable to, if it's not showing what you expect to see, reach out to the One Stop. And the pro tip on the One Stop Shop is do it very early in our morning. So it's about 8:30 here in Texas. And so if you were to reach out about the same time in the morning, you would be able to be first in line, which you want to do, because those phones are going to be very busy as the day moves forward. Also, you're welcome, by the way, to send it to us through their web form. Because we can send you the instructions on how to accept it if you're just sort of lost in how to do it. Oh, it looks like somebody dropped that one-stop inquiry form, so pretty beautiful.
Let's see, perfect. I saw someone put an I-20 question. I got my I-20 and a merit scholarship, but my scholarship is not printed on the I-20. Typically, Tejo, I see you ask that question, and congrats to you as well for getting a scholarship. Really, if you'd like it printed on your I-20, you just reach out to our immigration team. So at international@txstate.edu, and they will be able to make that update on your I-20 for you. If not, you can also contact them through the one-stop contact that Dr. Kerr was referring to, because the great thing about One Stop is it connects everyone, different departments on campus. So you can't do it that way, but maybe a quicker route would be the international@txstate.edu, and they can get that fixed for you. And Alton, that's okay. I see you hopped on late, but I'm glad you're happy to join for the Q&A session. Again, this is recorded, so if you have not put your email yet in the chat, please do so, as I have record of everyone who has entered it in so far so that we can send you the follow-up webinar. But are there any other questions for Dr. Kerr? Oh, there's another chat. Perfect.
Oh, it's a good question for you there.
Let's see. I got a $4,000 scholarship, so my tuition fees are now $10,000. Now I can say I got $18,000 scholarship to F1 visa officer because $22,000 is a non-residential tuition fee.